2021 planning board meeting. Obviously, we're doing a little Zoom thing here because of the COVID-19, but the first item on the agenda is a site plan application for, well, 158 Deering Center Road LLC, AG Paintball Corp. For expansion of the parking lot, site improvements including drainage and structures, and a catering concession stand, trailer, excuse me.
And you're appointing Pastor?
Said home, yes, that's written down on other piece of paper. Yes, appoint Pastor Bill as a voting member. Yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you. So we have the one waiver I saw was for test pits and 4K areas, which really aren't germane to this application anyway. Other than that, it looked pretty well complete from Kelly's memo and what I saw. So if we want to accept it as complete, we can get going, maybe. And
I'll make a motion to accept the plan as complete.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay, Mr. Carr, would you like to present this thing to us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, I'm Tom Carr from Meridian Land Services, and I'm here tonight to present the application for AG Paintball. Eric and Bill are on with us, and I'm anticipating that Brad, our PE designer, will be on shortly, I hope. I know you had a couple of preliminary discussions, and you had a site walk, which I wasn't part of, but I am very familiar with the site. I live in the neighborhood, and I did have some interactions with the former owners back when I was on the Conservation Commission in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. I can't exactly remember when that was. So the current owners, Eric and his gang, have I think they've seen this site on a daily basis. I've seen them cleaning the site up, doing a great job of marketing and getting a larger crowd in there. So they are, doing good business and improving on what the site has to offer in a commercial business in town. One of the, in speaking with Eric, when I first got involved with this, or actually more lately in the last year, I commented on his amount of cars they had. And if you've ever driven by there, you can see they have quite a load of cars in there. And his answer was immediate that, since COVID came, most of his commuters are not commuting together. They're driving in their own cars for their own protection and not carpooling. So that's added an increased number of cars to the patrons there, and it shows. And they do definitely need an expansion of parking, as like I said, they've done a great job marketing and doing more business. I'd like to share my screen, Mr. Chairman, but before I do, are there any general questions before we bring the plan up that I should address or comment on?
I actually brought the plan up when I was looking at it while you were talking, so.
Okay. Is it okay if I share my screen, Mr. Chairman?
Please do.
Okay. Whoever the host is, I need to have clearance to share my screen.
Is that 437-054?
I'm not sure. Is there a tab for you to enable screen sharing? Should be maybe on the bottom.
No. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And just hit share.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Oh, you're sharing a screen, so Tom, you need to make the request to her to share the screen so she knows where to go.
Okay,
Do I hit stop share then?
Yes.
up share and, I don't really know how to tell her to,
So you hit share screen, Tom,
yep,
and it should have a box that tells you to ask.
it says host disabled participant screen sharing. That's all I see. Okay,
So where do we?
Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Should I click that?
try that.
Yeah, now you can share it, Tom.
You see that?
Are you guys all set?
I don't see anything.
Here we go, here we go. Okay, can everybody see that now?
Yep.
No,
Yep, we can.
yep,
You can see the site plan?
yes.
Okay. All right, so there's a number of, so there's a number of improvements that are proposed here. That's the existing conditions plan. And we'll go to the proposed conditions plan here. So first of all, we know there's a two-way egress here, and there's another curb cut driveway permit here. What they want to do is pave those aprons, which is pretty standard operating procedure now for gravel roads entering onto an asphalt road. The highway department just redid Buxton School Road down by my house here, and they have exactly that, a nice paved apron, so you're not starting off of the gravel and then, you know, passing and spinning rubber onto the gravel, which chews up the edge. So that's a nice improvement to both entranceways. One of the things that was mentioned on the site walk is, you know, they have all these rocks down here along this side because there used to be a large entrance here, if you remember that. And they blocked this off and made it right at the crest, which has much better sight distance. We're going to place some more boulders on the property in this location here to prevent, you know, parking into the right of way and any egress not in the or on the paved apron. Here to the left corner, way up here at the edge of the parking, that's where they'd like to put the dumpster. Seems to be a good spot. It's completely out of view from the road. So that's where we're proposing to have the designated dumpster. Something that hasn't been part of this site, it was intended, but it's only recently been used by Eric and his gang, is that this entranceway here, the main entrance, is two-way. What we're going to do is we're going to mandate the traffic is still going to be able to be two-way here, but once you go this way, it's going to be one-way traffic across this existing culvert and out this area here. So you won't be able to entrance here. You'll only be able to exit here, which can't remember when they put that curb cut in. It was around the time I talked to them about, you know, excavating this drainage swale here, back in my tenure with the Conscom. I can't remember what that was, late 90s or early 2000s, but we're gonna have a directional traffic flow pattern. There's also these two player pits. Now, these are part of what triggered the need to come before the planning board for a site plan when those got put up.
I just have two.
Pardon me? So anyway,
Hold on, Amy.
we have these two players pits, and these are areas where when they come off the turf, the paintball players can reload their weapons and take a break. And it was inadvertently, this is all gravel here. You've seen that. It was inadvertently placed within the 25-foot wetland buffer. And Eric and his group are, more than willing to move that out of the buffer and relocate so that it's compliant with that, buffer. The other thing they're bringing into the site, and this is a new, relatively new sport that's really starting to take off, is the axe throwing. And I've actually done this before. It's pretty neat. And, it's where I've done it before, it was safely regulated. And I spoke to Eric about that earlier tonight, and he can address the safety of that area when that comes up. There is also, of course, a concession area here. This is a mobile unit. And these are also becoming quite commonly used. They've been commonly used for many, many years, and we don't recognize that. But when we go to the county fairs, all of those trailers are self-contained kitchens, and that's exactly what this is. It's not going to be a permanent kitchen. It does have, temporary hookups for power and water, but there's no septic release from it. It's a self-contained unit, and that's evacuated out with a pumping truck, much like a. We do intend to sell out of this. There's going to be food, of course, beverages, and they're going to have a beer and wine permit from the state on that. This pad right here is going to be the concrete pad. The intention of that is that it will be fenced, and that will be a limitation of where alcoholic beverages can be on the site. That's how it's going to be initially. If they do expand that temporarily for larger events, they would have to get permission from the Liquor Commission to fence off a larger area, over maybe in this area here, to have some tables to accommodate, a special event circumstance. That will be the limitation area of where the alcoholic beverages will be. Of course, the parking is, something that they really need. And we've designed probably way more parking than they need here. In the long term, they're going to use the parking for not only cars, but also, again, when they have these special events, they may have need for extra table areas or temporary tenting or something that will take up part of this area. But overall, there's 202 vehicle spaces. And some of these areas will be used for, tent areas or extra pedestrian areas when they have a larger event. With respect to the septic, they are still going to continue to use the porta potties. I think there was some discussion during the site walk, which I wasn't there, about, eventually, right now with the economics and the finances of the company, they're not willing or ready to, tear down the building and build a new state-of-the-art building, which at that point would have accommodations for public bathrooms and septic. So this is an interim step. It's what they can afford to do right now, and so we're going to stick with the portable potties for. I would add that the building itself here does not have a bathroom in it. So the employees, Eric and his people, they all use the porta potties too. There is water in there, and we honestly don't know where it goes. This is an old barn, which we know dates back, I don't know how long, but it used to be an animal barn, and it probably goes to a dry well. So there's a gray water system somewhere that there are no records of that. Of course, in improving the parking area in this spot here, Bradley has done a series of depressed catch basin areas that will catch the water that's coming from off-site and up in this area here. We'll bring it down to a detention basin that has an outlet structure that's, it has a reduced orifice outlet structure that will allow water to slowly be released. And then, of course, having a top outlet in the event that this basin gets completely full. There are areas of the existing gravel that are going to be restored. There's one area right here. It's partially in the buffer that will be, gravel will be removed and grass and seed and loam will be added there. There's a much larger area right here that's in the buffer that was all, this is all pre-existing stuff that dates back to previous owner when they brought me on site to get permission to do this trench right here. But this area here will get all restored. Again, the gravel will be removed, loamed and seeded. And then there's another spot right here that will be gravel removed and loamed and seeded. So this will be a buffer restoration area here. And part of this will also be a buffer restoration area here. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, Mr. Chairman. I think at this point I'll cease and I'll turn it back to the board for any questions or comments that we can answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So you're going to restore the buffer at the crossing, both sides of the crossing, basically, at the culvert.
Correct, right in this area here and this area here, yeah.
Are we going to do anything with the laser tag area that's in the buffer?
I hadn't looked at that.
Well, let me back up. I did a little research. When we were at the site walk, I mentioned the AstroTurf field, whatever it is. Yeah, artificial turf field.
Right,
Obviously being in the wetland buffer. I mean, it's a couple feet from the wetland. And we weren't sure at the time when the buffer ordinance came about.
right. So I can answer that. When I was on the Conservation Commission, actually, I think I was chair at that time after Pat Myers stepped down. They had come to us, or me, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but they wanted to make sure, they wanted to dig an interception trench there and they wanted to make sure they weren't impacting wetlands. So being in the neighborhood, I went over there and looked at it with them and said, no, you can do this here. I flagged the limit of the wetland that was down here and said, don't trench any further than that and you'll be fine. The wetland buffer ordinance came in after they had done this trench. So the field, the AstroTurf field, and the AstroTurf field and the trench came before the wetland buffer, and then the wetland buffer ordinance came in after that, and it applies to the lot.
Well, I thought the turf field was put in 2009 or something like that, 9 or 10.
I'm not sure, Craig. I can't remember if the
I can't either. I don't know either.
but
But
this
I did research it. And the wetland buffer ordinance came into effect in 2007.
2007.
Yeah, so it might have been a year.
Yeah. So what I do know is this was their primary activity area. So they had, you know, their obstacles up there, and this was their primary, I guess you want to call it combat field or whatever. I don't know what Eric would refer to that as, but this was the playground, and I can't honestly remember, Craig, if it was turf when I was there or not, and I'm not going to, you know, pretend to know that, but I do remember that this was the area that they were, you know, primarily doing all of their activities with.
So if I understand, if I may, if I understand this, I mean, the trench and it was dug and the asphalt and the field was put in about the same time?
I can't speak to the layment of the artificial turf, but the field or the combat area was there when they asked me about digging this trench. Because in the springtime, they were getting too much water and they wanted to know if it was a wetland or not and what they could do. And I said, it's not a wetland. It's just, you've got, a slope coming down to a flat area. And in the wettest times of the season, you're going to get this, water. I mean, we see it in our yards every spring. And I said, if you want, you can do an interception trench here. And we brought it down here. I said, you have to stop at a certain point. I hung some wetland flags. I said, don't touch this. Don't come by here. And they did it, and it was all done perfectly legally. And then the buffer ordinance came in after that.
Yeah, but even when they dug the trench, it wasn't wetlands right away. So there's still a period of time before that buffer even would have needed to have been there.
Correct.
Can I assume that after that artificial turf is not impervious?
Yeah, that it's not impervious. The water can go through there.
So I'm even wondering if it's a problem even, you're not allowed to dredge or fill inside the wetland buffer. I guess technically the artificial turf would be a fill of X inches thick or whatever. But the purpose of the wetland buffer is to make sure you aren't disrupting the hydrology of the wetland, is my understanding. I wouldn't think a pervious surface is going to affect it. And again, we don't even know for the timing for sure which way that was.
I don't know. One thing about the artificial turf, because it's not exposed soil, we're not getting, erosion and
Right.
and phosphates off it. So, all I know for sure is that this was the main playground when I was out there to talk to the previous owners.
When was the laser tag put in? Laser tag area? We know that?
Let you speak to that, because I don't know about that.
Well, what was the question there, guys? Sorry.
When was the laser tag area put in?
So it wasn't designated until laser tag in 2018, but it went on top. That actually used to all be a staging area down there.
Yeah, I
And it just
remember
went
that.
on top of that existing area. We just stayed within that cleared staging area, if you will.
Could we ask the person with the TV on to mute their mic?
That's my wife. I'll be right back.
It's an awkward sound if the mic is picking up pretty easy.
Yeah, it is, Bruce. I would agree. Thank you.
I'm back.
Okay.
A little more, please. So all your water is coming into those catch basins in the islands, into there, down into a riprap scour hole.
Right.
I think that's great. I like that. I like that whole parking lot design.
Yeah, it works pretty well, I think.
Anybody else have any questions?
Definitely improvement over what's there.
Craig, I have a question about the food. Tom, will the state give a liquor permit, if you don't have permanent toilets and you don't have a permanent kitchen?
Yes, they will. I've discussed this with DES Subsurface too regarding porta potties, and they consider that a legal and legitimate means of providing services for clients. And again, this is the trailer or the unit that they're using there is a completely self-contained unit that gets pumped out just like a septic tank or an RV for that matter. You can take it to a dumping station, or you can, you know, have it pumped out by a pumper.
My issue, Tom, is whether they can get this permit with that kind of equipment. I know the Liquor Commission will give permits for people using this equipment at fairs, which are sort of temporary. I wasn't aware that they would do it for a permanent location.
Well, it's
So if I may, we actually, they will give permits for that. We actually have a pending permit with both the commission and the food and beverage, just pending an inspection on both. So they just have to do their walkthroughs, and we will be issued a permit at that point.
Glad to hear that. I just learned something. Thank you.
And
Yeah, that's-
also, Neil, those permits from the state will also be checked when the building permit is approved.
right. That could and should be a condition of the approval if you so choose to move to approve this plan.
Any other comments?
Kelly, what's the situation with the sign?
I'm still working on the permit application because everything went to site plan, so that's still pending as well as building permit.
Thank you.
And also, Craig, did you get the note about the fire chiefs?
Yes, he was curious about the traffic flow or something like that, right?
Yes, the width going in and then the turnaround. There's no turnaround for him?
So the chief actually came down this week to do a walk and inspection with us, and I showed him the current parking area, and I also showed him the plans for the expanded and explained the one-way traffic. And he didn't seem to have a problem with maneuvering into the lot once he saw current conditions and where we were looking to expand, and obviously the use of this one-way in and out.
Oh, good, okay.
One other question, Craig, or to Tom. There was some parking near the cemetery that these folks abandoned. That's not part of this application, correct?
Correct. No, that was a temporary overflow situation that, you know, they don't want anything to do with that. No.
Is that access road going to be blocked, or is it still going to be open and available?
I would assume we could and probably should block it.
Tom, I don't know if we are allowed to block it because there's technically a right of way through the cemetery.
Oh, that's right. The right, that there is a right of way there that's for the cemetery people. That's right.
We should have no need to use that area once this parking is approved. We kind of had to use it out of necessity this year, and obviously not going across the street, you know, put more burden on us. So that was the only reason we went down there.
Would a sign, no parking sign, be an idea?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to do that, and I'm happy to talk with the cemetery about, you know, maybe like a temporary chain or something like that. I just don't think I can outright block it because
I would agree with that.
No. And what's the status of your arrangement with the neighbor across the street for overflow parking?
Well, if this plan is approved and we have this additional parking, there should be no need to use that area at all. We would prefer not to use it as well, so this should make things easier for us.
But if you had a major event and your parking places were filled, is that still available?
I couldn't anticipate a reason for us to need it.
Thank you.
When we're out there at the site walk, we talked about these, I guess, these features that you have that are movable. And we talked about designating an area for them so that you could move them around without any issues.
Are you talking about the staging area, Bruce?
No, you had some features that you had in the paintball play area that you moved around periodically. And you said they were,
I think Bruce is talking about the turf area here.
no, they were out in the open area where they,
In the paintball area, you're saying, in the playing fields?
yeah,
Yeah, so what's the question regarding to the paintball features?
because you had worried about if you moved them, was it gonna be a problem or
Yeah, so I guess my understanding was that, so we are designating like the paintball field areas. I guess my understanding is that when we're approved to be a paintball field, that we would have paintball features, and we do move them and we do change things, you know, not dissimilar to what you do at like a supermarket when you change what products are. People get bored of where they are, so we do move things around.
right? And that's what we talked about on site. But where's the designated paintball field then? I mean, you've got the turf area, you've got. Okay,
You see the paintball field
yeah,
area?
I see a line, but it's not enclosed. I guess the plan's not big enough to show it on here completely, or?
Where is that?
Because the line kind of goes right up around the parking lot and to the lot line, then it goes right up and it's off the plan.
Right, so up in here in the woods, Bruce, there are you know, stuff that they move around that was I never have seen the original site plan, but you know, there's stuff out here in the woods that was part of the original application back in, I think it was the 80s, that was part of the original site plan approval. So we're not intending to discount or readdress any of this area up here.
Okay.
Application really should be considered a supplement to the original site plan, in that we're trying to add the parking and make the improvements to the egress areas, and improve some of the facilities and services that the company offers. So, you know, I think you know, whatever's up here in the woods, and I honestly haven't seen them, but I know they do have little things that they move around out there for people to hide around and play with, and those have to move around. They have to stay. They have to change it up so that when they come back week after week, month
Right,
after,
it's a different feel to the place.
yeah, right.
Exactly. And I think, so the last site plan that we had approved was in 2008, Tom.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Would it be possible maybe that like at the top of the plan, right along that line, you have all your contour numbers?
Yep.
Maybe put a note up there, you know, saying that area was previously approved, plan, you know, and put the date or
Sure.
something,
Yeah, we can add that, Bruce, no problem.
just to kind of tie the two together a little bit.
Sure.
Tom, what is that on beside the proposed parking lot? Looks like a stockade fence symbol.
Up here?
No, in the 25-foot setback, building setback, side setback,
This line?
left,
Left.
Oh, like
Left,
right through the
way-
middle of
way
it up
left.
there.
left, keep going left. Keep going. Right there. What's that?
Oh, this is
Yes.
existing, these are existing fence sections.
Oh, okay. I don't remember seeing those.
There's sections of old fence along the property line here that are still there. So this is actually existing conditions. So if you look over here, if we went up to the top,
Oh, yes, there they are, stockade fence.
they should show, yeah. So there's the existing sections of fence along that property line. They're kind of in disrepair, but they're still there.
Okay, how close to the property line is the parking lot down there along that side?
Right in here. Good question, Craig. I don't,
Yeah,
haven't scaled that, and I'd be hesitant to throw out a number looking at the PDF. I'm not sure. Looking at the graphics scale though, down here,
yeah, you got 25-foot side setback, so it's probably less than 10 and more than 5, maybe?
yeah, I would say, yep. Yeah, so
Okay,
something just less than 10 based on, or that's 15 right there. So yeah, probably right around 10 feet.
is that the existing tree line also?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay, so no more trees will be cut in that area.
Let's go back up to the top here. No, so that is a proposed tree line.
Yes.
Right here's the existing tree line.
Yep.
There is now a logging road that goes up here because they have had some logging operations out there to thin some of it out. But right, so that would be a proposed tree line.
Yeah, I remember from the sidewalk, it's not densely wooded, that's for sure.
Right.
There's a lot of logs and things and stored out there.
Yep.
Could we add a do not enter sign at the culvert coming from the proposed parking lot towards the new one, or from the proposed one towards the existing one?
Yep.
So people
No problem.
don't drive the wrong way? Yeah, right in there someplace.
Yep, right in here. Yep, right at the end of, right here would be a good spot for it.
Yep.
No problem.
I'm trying to figure out what the fire chief's concern is about turning around, and I can't see it.
It's a ton of room.
When,
The only thing I can think of is if he drives in the two-way entrance, for some reason drives up the concrete pad and turns left, he has to go out the one way. There's no way to turn around and come back out the two-way, really, for a truck.
Kind of mentioned his concern, what to me at least, is that he'd be coming down that way and there would be cars trying to exit through there. So I explained to him that it'd be one way and that there'd be plenty of room for them to get up into that expanded area.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
He'd continue to go out the other way.
Yeah, so when I saw him, he was worried that we weren't going to have this be a one-way and cars would be trying to exit through
Oh,
there
okay.
and they would get blocked. And I explained to him that it was a one-way so that he wouldn't have that problem.
Okay.
Which your sign would help enforce that.
With that said,
Absolutely, and we do have staff and parking as well.
Do we have any proposed lighting?
No.
None? Okay. Is it possible to take the two lights on the existing building and make them so they're more downcast and don't shine in my eyes in the morning when I'm driving to work?
Can we?
No, I'm serious.
Are they on this end of the building, Craig?
Yes, right there, right in the very front of that building, right
Okay.
there. You drive down Center. Look out tomorrow morning. You'll see it, Tom.
Yeah, see, I generally just head south on Buxton School Road. If Buxton School Road's muddy or we got snow, I'll go by here, but normally I head south from my house.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Those lights are shining almost right towards the road.
But we could take care of that. I don't see that being a problem. It is difficult because the barn's raised, but we could do more of a downcast light or remove the bulbs or something like that.
Maybe
Yeah,
just,
replace it.
turn them down with a larger shade or something.
Yeah. It shouldn't be hard to do. It'd be nice to have something done there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely a distraction in the morning. Well, it's blinding, but it's certainly a distraction. I just realized in my notes, Kelly, in your notes you had fees to be paid. Does that mean they have been paid? Or
nope, they were paid after the list was,
okay,
after the report was done, and we still have building permits, so those fees will still be required.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, point of order, did you make a motion to accept the waiver?
To accept the what?
They have a waiver request. Did you approve that?
The test pit and 4K box.
I don't know if we did we?
No, we didn't.
You can make a motion, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm looking for the waiver.
It was for test pits and 4K areas.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion to allow for not having to do test pits in 4 areas. Since there's no-
Second.
Second it.
Since there's no septic system involved in this application.
Right. No.
I'm sorry,
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 and I'm sorry, who seconded it?
I
Neil.
did.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
Jack and Neil both did.
Yeah.
Thank
Flip a coin.
you, I got it. I have it, thank you very much.
Is there anybody from public like to speak? Huh. We got 20-some people here. Nobody wants to talk about this? Okay, hearing no comments.
Well, this is Benji.
Oh, hey, there you are.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm just speaking in support of this business. I think that it's a very good outdoor business, especially this time with all this pandemic going on. And they use no town, accommodations as far as trash or us having to plow the road or anything. So I hope that we can make this site plan as smooth as possible for them, because I think it's a very good thing for the town. They employ a lot of young kids, and the kids they don't employ, the rest of them go and they play there. It's a good after school program and stuff for them. So my own son likes to go there and play paintball. So I hope that we can work with them and make everything happen.
Okay. Anybody else from the public like to speak? Hearing none, we'll close it for public comment. There's no state permits to get, because you got the DOT permit, and the restaurant thing we're not gonna worry about. Any other questions or comments from the board?
And we got two things they want to change in here. We want a one-way sign and a note referencing the previous approval in the area that it was approved.
Up in here.
Oh, where are the porta potties, Tom?
Yeah, I noticed they weren't on here tonight when we were reviewing this, but they're mostly down in this area here,
Okay.
if I recall. Is that right, Eric?
Yeah, that's right. Right next to those tents there.
Yep, down in here and just in this area. Yeah.
Yep, and we may put up a couple for axe throwing as well, once that gets installed.
You want to add if you have a permanent porta potty site, like by those tent areas, maybe show that the portable ones, the ones you're going to move around. I mean, I'd understand that they're gonna be in different places on different weekends. So, but the ones by the tent areas where you're doing all the food service, those are probably going to be more permanent, right?
Yeah, we could add them right in here. I think they have 4 of them right now. And I think, Eric suggested maybe have 1 or 2 of them up here too. So we can certainly add that to the plan.
Okay.
And
I
you can
don't know if I put a number, Tom. I just put area designated for.
Sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't say 4 here and 3 there or anything like
Yeah,
that. They want
because
to
they're,
put,
they in a larger event situation, they may need to bring in more for that. So
Right.
we don't
Yeah.
put a number on it.
they get 202 cars in there. They're gonna need a couple extra porta potties, I would think.
So, yeah.
Can you move that player pit out of wetland buffer?
Yes, yeah, we talked about that before meeting tonight, and, you know, that definitely needs to get moved.
So I'm going to go with the assumption that the AstroTurf and the laser tag areas were probably in the wetland buffer prior to the ordinance in 2007. The laser tag area is not really, I'm not sure would need a permit anyway. I'm not sure the AstroTurf would either, but if either one would be, it'd be the AstroTurf or the artificial turf. But I'm not going to worry about either. Personally, I'm not going to worry about either one of them. So my list is the do not enter sign, move the player pit, show us where the porta potties are going to be, and please change the lights in front of the barn for me.
Craig, there were two signs, no entry signs. One
Oh,
on
yes.
49 and the second one between the
Yes.
two parking areas. There was also a third sign, no parking by the cemetery.
Thank you. I forgot that one completely.
There was also Bruce's comment about maybe a note up here saying, you know, formerly approved play areas to remain or something,
Right.
at this line.
Previously approved paintball field, something like that.
Yeah, play area.
No, it's called paintball field area everywhere else in the plan. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
that's
was.
fine, yeah. Yeah.
So there's no abutters present. I see 6 conditions if you want me to read them off. Make a motion, we conditionally approve the application following this, with the following conditions. 1, show the location of the porta potties. 2, move the 1 player pit out of the wetland buffer. 3, show the 2 do not enter signs, 1 at 149 on the entrance and 1 between the 2 parking lots. 1, 2, 3. I lost my numbers. 4, change the lighting in the front of the barn so it's more downcast. 5, a no parking sign on the access to the cemetery. And 6, add a note, previously approved paintball fields in the rear of the building, in the rear of the property.
I'll second that.
Now we say that and we're going to go into discussion. I just thought of something like, what's the square footage you're disturbing here, Tom? You're under 100,000, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And you got filter sock the whole way along the wetland, basically the wetland buffer.
That's all along here.
Yep.
Yep.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Congratulations.
All right, well, great. Thank you very much for your time tonight. We appreciate it, and I look forward to having a great new improved business here on 149.
My only question is when are they going to change the lighting? So I'll be looking at that in the morning.
Eric, get on it, buddy.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sure,
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Second item on the agenda is subdivision regulations. I saw where Kelly changed. That's where I saw where she left in the dry hydrant. And I saw where the reference to the CAD file was taken out. Was there anything else we changed? Or was that it?
Now, on December 10th meeting,
I looked at the email you sent them last week or this week even maybe.
Yep, I sent a copy of that December 10th meeting notes too.
Yes, yes.
Where we talked about adding the sentence about the revised materials must be submitted within 7 days prior to a scheduled hearing day.
Yes.
Yep,
Yep.
that was put in. That it was put in on my page 12.
Now I
and that
gotta
was
go
the-
look for it.
That was the last revision. And then you asked if the board was comfortable with making that change to the final draft to review at the next meeting. The next meeting was December 17th, which we canceled. The meeting after that was for finish zoning amendments. So that's why we're bringing it up now, just to finalize it. So all the changes that you had discussed and approved are now in there.
In that draft you sent out. Yes.
Correct. The one I just sent out.
Which I can't find now, but I will.
So we're just entertaining section 5 and adding that sentence.
That's correct. Section 5.1. It actually starts on page 11, but the new sentence that I added comes on page 12. It's in section E, as in Edward.
Right.
You can't find it, Craig. Want me to just read it off my page?
Well, I found this, I found it like.
Okay.
I haven't found it, but I've had it like an hour ago. I had it.
Oh, yeah, it was just that one sentence.
It's bolded. You can't miss it.
Yeah, I know I looked at it, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
Well, mine is colored.
Oh, mine shows up bold.
Well,
Wow.
that's because I can't scan you the colored copy.
It's a Word document.
I'm fine with the changes.
I
Okay.
move we accept those changes.
Who was that, Neil?
That would be Pastor Bill.
Pastor Bill, sorry, thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Jack?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, we got through the subdivision regulations finally. That only took 2 years.
Yeah, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discussion with Jewett Road. That's why I assume we got people hanging out here.
Yes, that would be Dylan and Madison.
So I understand that we have to make a recommendation to the planning, to the selectmen, right?
Yes. They've already been to the zoning board for their variance.
And they are the second lot on the road, is that correct?
Are you the first or the second, Dylan?
We would be the first.
That's what I thought.
On the left, going up from Mountain Road.
Yeah, they're on the
First
corner
house
of.
on the left.
Yep. We would be the first driveway, and it's on the left. Yeah.
Are there any other houses on Jewett Road?
Yes.
How many?
Yeah. All the houses are further down.
How many feet between the beginning of Jewett Road and the first house? Not yours, but the first existing house.
That would be about 419 yards.
So 1,200 feet or so.
Yep. And to the closest house. So the first house on the left, when you pull into Jewett Road, their driveway isn't on Jewett Road, but they do own property on Jewett Road. And that house is 287 yards from our proposed building wall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What were the conditions the zoning board put on the, Approval.
It was the same typical 4 conditions that they always put on, except there was one added for condition 5, and I can read it to you if you want. Did I send you a copy or no?
I don't believe I got one.
I didn't get
Okay.
one.
Condition 5 is in the vicinity past historical stone culvert on Jewett Road along the future land of Bovier, implement a widening of Jewett Road for a minimum of 16 feet wide by 50 feet long, so 2 emergency vehicles can pass safely. That's condition number 5. All the other ones are the same that the zoning board puts on as far as to post a sign that it's a class 6 road. Have the town of Ware liability disclaimer, post your house number, and construct your driveway in accordance to the driveway regulations. Those are the same 4.
Kelly, is there any provision with respect to road maintenance?
Yeah, that's, liability.
No, not liability to the town, but who's going to maintain that portion of the road, or how is it going to be maintained in the winter? Since it's a class 6 road, the town doesn't maintain it.
No, we don't have anything.
We've verbally agreed to help maintain the road. Any necessary plowing, a tree falls in the road, anything along those lines that we've agreed, and we've met everybody on the road as well and talked to everybody and let them know that we are 100% willing to help with the road maintenance.
But I thought there was some sort of provision that the planning board put in most of these so that there had to be a formal agreement and you would have to sign it. Kelly, is that not the case here, or have I
Well,
confused it?
That's the liability disclaimer. The liability disclaimer says they're responsible to maintain their road so an emergency vehicle can get in and out.
So there's no other kind of joint maintenance agreement with other people on the road?
No, not like a shared driveway that you're thinking of?
Something like that, but that
No.
would, no, thank you. And that's the case for all of the class 6 roads that are being built up.
Yes, that liability disclaimer is on all of the conditions on private roads and class 6 roads.
And there's no other kind of maintenance agreement on any of those roads?
No, just that they're responsible for their own maintenance. It doesn't say that this neighbor and that neighbor and that neighbor is responsible. It's just everybody's responsible to maintain so emergency vehicles can get in and out.
Thank you.
Craig?
Yes.
The board already went out and looked at that at a request. We met with Mr. Bovier and his wife. And just so you can go with the maintenance, they've already agreed to do maintenance out there. They're putting another culvert in probably about 20 feet, 10 to 20 feet beyond the stone culvert. The highway superintendent was there also. And they've agreed to already put some gravel into the road in that area. And they're getting their permits through DES to put that culvert in, adjoining the old collapsed, semi-collapsed stone one, historic stone culvert. And the road is wide enough. It's more than 16 feet and for more than 50 feet in length from the area that was designated, so.
Yeah, I remember there's I think I had pneumonia when that sidewalk was going on or something was.
Well, it was requested by the selectmen, so this was just recently, and.
Didn't we have a planning board sidewalk out there a couple years ago?
Yeah, that was for logging, right?
That was, yeah, and that was for another place out there, I believe, back, about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think the Conservation Commission did some logging, a logging operation out there, right? Wasn't that it?
Yeah, they did some out in that area also.
So So Jack, you're saying that the culvert's already been fixed and the
No,
road's already
not
been
yet.
laid?
They're in the process of doing that, getting their permits. They have a contractor, would be Jeff Spring is the one they've contracted to do it, and he's in the process of getting the DES permits to put that culvert in under the guidance of the highway superintendent.
Okay. Any other comments?
How's the entrance coming onto Mountain Road?
The entrance coming up,
Yeah, where Jewett Road comes, because Mountain Road kind of hooks to the left and Jewett Road goes to the right. I mean, it's almost like a T intersection, but it's
Yeah.
Mountain Road that keeps going straight.
yeah. Yeah, the entrance is clear and we walked and measured it and it's actually wider than 16 feet in a lot of places. So, yeah, I mean, the road is great.
Yeah, there's plenty of room at the intersection also. We were able to park out there on both sides. Still more than enough room for cars to go by.
What are you saying, Jack? We should recommend nothing?
I think they've met the requirements that ZBA did, and probably some of it looks like it's in excess, so. And they're more than agreeable to, to do some of that maintenance and,
So as long as they get those improvements done, the culvert, et cetera,
Yep.
done prior to a certificate of occupancy, the board.
yeah, and they're aware of that. They were made aware of that anyway.
Okay. That'd be my only concern is that they don't only get permit, but they get constructed as well.
It'd be a good idea to get the culvert in because part of the road was a wash going up there.
Well, yeah, but you know as well as I do, sometimes people don't have the money once they start thinking about it, say, oh, never mind. I'd rather have something else done.
Well, they got all their ducks. It seems like they got all their ducks in a row, so they're ready to go forward with it as soon as the ground. And they get their permits from DES with the culvert, so the ground's ready for it.
Yeah, that's the plan. And we've already purchased the culverts. So those are just waiting.
And the other thing, Greg, is none of the water that they put in for the new culvert will go on anybody else's land but theirs. So it's adjacent to the stream. It's right there. It'll dump right back into the same.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. So I see a couple of butters here. Does anybody want to speak? I guess the butters don't want to speak. Okay. My other concern would be making sure that improvements get implemented prior to getting a CO. That's my only concern would be.
Okay.
We got to make sure they get implemented sometime.
Well, shouldn't they have to comply to those 5 points from the zoning?
Yes, that's all taken care of when the building permit application is in.
So that takes care of what Craig's concern is, right?
Let's make sure we understand what was just said. The culvert will be in before you approve their building application, their building permit?
Before the CO, before a certificate of occupancy.
Okay, and that's what I thought Craig said. I thought you said something different. So they can wait. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jack.
I think their first priority is to put that culvert in because it's going to be difficult to get vehicles up there, and they don't want to do any more damage to that historic culvert. It's like it's washed out across the top, and they know they're going to have to put some gravel in and then put that other culvert in, so we can really get to work up there.
I understand what they may want to do, and as Craig pointed out, sometimes what you want to do, you wind up not being able to do. Craig, are you satisfied that if the CO won't be issued, that's the best way to do it as opposed to the building permit?
Kelly, can you read those 5 conditions, please?
Sure. Condition number 1, the applicant shall be required to post a necessary sign at the transition from class 5 to class 6 in accordance with the town of Ware sign policy. It goes on to list the RSA and what the sign should say. Condition number 2, the applicant shall be required to complete a town-aware liability disclaimer and file the
Yep.
liability disclaimer at the Hillsborough County Registry of Deeds.
Yep.
Condition number 3, the applicant shall take the necessary actions to be in practical compliance with the town-aware planning board subdivision regulation for driveway permit requirements and town-aware zoning ordinance, Article 36. Town-aware Public Works Director shall be the authority of interpreting the practical information of this requirement. Condition number,
Wait a minute, who's making sure it meets?
Benji.
sounds like Benji, the Town-aware Public Works Director shall be the authority of interpreting practical implementation.
Benji's muted, so I don't know if he's watching this or not. Okay.
Condition
Yeah,
number
I'm
4,
here.
the applicant shall be required to take necessary actions to comply with the 911 signage requirement for proper
Yep.
resident location identification. And
Okay.
condition number 5, in the vicinity past historical stone culvert on Jewett Road along the future land of Bovier, implement a widening of Jewett Road for a minimum of 16 feet wide by 50 feet long, so 2 emergency vehicles can pass safely.
The issue that I'm trying to raise is one of making sure that with the best intentions, the things actually get done before the house is, I think, before the house is built, but certainly before the house is occupied, so that the town isn't left with an obligation in some way if it turns out that something horrible happens to these folks and they can't complete the obligations.
Does it say anything on there, Kelly, about when the conditions have to be met? I mean, the conditions say conditioned on, but is there a time certain or an event that triggers it?
Well, their zoning board variance expires in 2 years. But it doesn't say,
Well, I guess I'd recommend that those conditions be met prior to issuance of a CO. If,
That's the way it stands right now.
well, does it?
Yeah, does it? Just says they have to do it.
Yeah.
Do it 10 years from now and move in 2 months.
I mean, we're just reaffirming what, that,
Yeah, we're just making sure it's done when it should, that's all.
yeah.
well, there's always like a pre-final building inspection before a final inspection for the CO. We could always make it part of that. So that the building inspector goes out and checks everything and notifies Benji because Benji has to do he'll look at the driveway, he'll look at the road before a final on the building permit as well.
Right.
Is it not the case that our job tonight is simply to recommend?
Yes.
Yes.
So we could recommend that the selectmen impose these conditions since we can't. Is that correct?
And to be imposed prior to CO.
Right.
Yes. I have one more I have one more question. You said the widening had to be 16 by 50. And you said the driveway had to be built according to Article 36. Article 36 says 50 feet long by 20 feet wide, allowing two-way travel on the driveway.
Craig,
Yes,
I think that's a misunderstanding. It's not the driveway that has to be 50-foot length, 16 feet or more. It has to be a part of the road, the class 6 road, so they can pass on the road.
I understand that, but I thought
Jack refers to everything like that on that road as like a driveway.
I thought he said the driveway had to be, or the roadway had to be built to meet the driveway specifications.
Right. And
Well, no, I'm sorry, but I don't mean to interrupt, but the driveway specifications condition number 3 and number 5 is a new condition added on.
Right.
Yes, number 3 says the road has to be built to the driveway specifications.
No.
Driveway has to.
Could you read number 3 again?
Yes, read number 3 again.
I'm emailing it to you now too. Number 3 says the applicant shall take the necessary actions to be practical compliant with town-aware planning board subdivision regulations for driveways and town-aware zoning ordinance Article 36. So that talks about the driveway has to comply with those regulations.
Yep,
Number 5 talks about the Jewett Road for a minimum of 16 by 50.
okay.
Okay?
So
And I just emailed it to you.
are you ready to accept the motion, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
I move we recommend the application of the owners of map 410 lot 16 on Jewett Road be approved by the selectmen with the condition that the 5 requirements placed upon the variance by the zoning board of adjustment be fulfilled prior to the time a certificate of occupancy is issued.
Second.
I'll second. Okay.
Somebody second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Next item on the agenda is minutes.
Good luck, guys.
Yes, good luck. Sorry.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
See you, Dylan, Madison.
Welcome.
Minutes from January 14th, which got emailed to us very nicely this afternoon.
Yeah, I read them. I had a couple questions in there.
I got 2, but go ahead.
The first paragraph on the Borough subdivision,
Yes.
it says the last sentence, the cistern is expensive and owner not interested in a sprinkler system. That owner should be fire department, fire wards. Because they were the ones that weren't interested in sprinklers. They wanted something else other than sprinklers.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that went down. I was surprised it was, okay. So replace the word owner with the word, with fire words are.
Yeah.
My 2 comments are number 1, the guest via Zoom. Jack Meany, I believe, should be up in the board part instead of being a guest.
Yeah,
Yes,
I noticed that.
Yeah, yeah. I have that too, and he's ex officio, not a
Yes.
guest and not a member, ex officio.
All caps and all that kind of
Yeah.
good stuff like the rest of us.
So if Karen could fix that the next time.
Oh, so was it wrong on the last one too then?
And I didn't notice it in the last one.
That's weird.
Congratulations.
No idea.
I emailed you earlier, said, is this guy gonna take all friggin' night or what?
Oh, I didn't even see it.
I'm here too. Well, somebody's still on,
Oh my
somebody's
God,
still on the
give me
Zoom
a
and complaining
friggin'
about it, so
break.
that's all right.
You just have to mute him, Karen.
Who's this now?
Christ.
It-
So-
it sounds like it's,
Is everything like all okay?
I think it's Mark.
Or whatever.
Proceed?
Mark?
Mark,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go,
Shoot him. There you go.
gone.
there you go.
The other thing I noticed in paragraph 1 under Borough Road, it says the chair established the application was accepted as complete, and then down in the end of the first page, it says pretty much the same thing.
Well,
Yeah, you probably did.
you
I-
asked, you
did I-
asked. That's what it
Well,
was.
first I said it was, and then I said, then I asked if it was.
Yeah, well, that's
Exactly.
you. That's you.
That's what
Okay.
happened.
Had a brain cramp, huh? Okay.
Oh,
I can take off, I'll just take off that last paragraph.
Okay, that's okay.
Yep,
We
that
did
works.
address it in 2 spots, though.
What's that, Bill?
We did address that question in 2 spots.
We
because
did. He said it in the first.
Meeting minutes.
Okay. Fine, it just looks weird. That's the only thing I had.
That's
So-
where-
I missed that. Are we taking out the second paragraph or no? Leave it as is? Okay,
Yes.
all right.
I think what happened is that Craig was trying to give a history on the first paragraph.
Correct.
So the history included that, yes, okay, we know we accepted it, but it was being continued after continued after continued because they were waiting for the fire ward. So I think Craig was just trying to give a history on the first paragraph. And then it was
Right, and-
actually,
Maybe it wasn't, maybe you can change it from was accepted as complete or to say it was submitted pending the confirmation of the fire wards. Because I don't think it was complete.
Yes,
Prior
we
to
accept
that,
it as complete.
All right. You want me to write submitted on that first line?
I would leave it alone.
I would leave it on because it was accepted as complete the very first night.
Okay.
And it was, so it's,
And that makes the difference with your deadlines and your dates on the RSAs.
Correct.
Okay.
yes.
So far on that first page, we're only changing fire wards.
And Jack
Not
Meany.
interested.
Jack Meany.
And Jack Meany. Okay.
That's all I had.
I don't know how that happened. Sorry, Jack.
It's okay, Karen.
No, I had a couple. I don't know if anybody else is ready.
Go for it, ma'am.
The two votes are in the same. Oh, no, it's Article 7.1 and 9.1. Never mind. Read that again. Now.
I think it's pretty good. I have to be careful what I say because it's going to go in the minutes, but other than that, it looks pretty good. That's probably going to go in the minutes next time.
No comment.
I knew that.
You guys are going to behave tonight, right?
Nope.
I had a note about page 8 about the word not should be in front of interfere, but now I can't find it.
8.
Again, this is just when I went over it really quickly today, so.
About a third of the way down.
Seventh paragraph.
Secretary Clerk continued, one of the unintended
Ah.
consequences of his vote certainly was not to interfere, or is it not to interfere, or is it, does it
Yes.
read?
Was not to.
No.
I
One
think
of
it
the
reads like
unintended,
that, yeah.
that's an unintended consequence of his vote, certainly, was to interfere. That was the unintended consequence. And right after that, he says, that is just wrong.
Okay. Context.
Yep.
Good point. So I think one of the things we might want to suggest is that Karen come to the meeting and we address minutes right at the beginning so she can be gone on her way.
Except today she's running the Zoom thing too, so.
She's heard everything that we've said and tried to interpret it. And she can rewind it. It's not like recording live. You know,
Right.
she's sitting live and taking minutes. She's listening to every little detail we've said. So I would like to see that happen so that
The issue is she's the administrative assistant to the town administrator, and she does the minutes off the Zoom feed, you know, and the YouTube. But she just happens to be here tonight because she's administrating the Zoom because Naomi's out of town. So, I mean, to have her come into the meetings is going to be, it may be hard to do. So
I understand. Well, I was just thinking that if there's a question pertaining to, maybe we do accepting the minutes in a two-phase thing, we review it so that that is on the minutes for the meeting that she's going to dictate. And then we can find out clarification as to what she heard and what we said, so that it's clearer.
I could always link in.
But I think it would be best for that to happen at the beginning of the meeting rather than at the end of the meeting.
I think, Karen, if you were to attend or join in any meeting on town time, you might want to check with Naomi first.
you have to check with Naomi as far as, because
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do anything without her approval.
So was that okay on the minutes? We were finalized on the minutes?
Well,
I'll make a motion. We accept them as amended.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 I'm going to abstain.
Okay,
Opposed? Okay. I'm not
Craig?
opposed. Yes,
oh, go ahead, finish your vote, sorry.
I'm done voting. I was just gonna
Okay.
go back to Karen being doing the minutes first. I would not be opposed to that as long as everybody, including myself, have to take the time to go over these, so they don't
Right.
take 15, 20 minutes to go over them. And we sit
Right.
here and read them at the meeting,
Right, right.
because there's applicants paying paid professionals to sit there for $100 some an hour, but we're reviewing minutes. That's wrong.
Right.
Because I get paid $100 some. No, I don't get paid. The company gets paid $100 some for me to sit there and wait at times. And I think, boy, this is stupid.
Maybe the issue could be handled if we do have a discrepancy that we are concerned about. We could contact her by phone, or Kelly could contact her by phone, so that we could clarify what was said in a better fashion. That way she doesn't have to commit to every meeting.
I don't think that's allowed by RSA, tell you the truth.
Okay,
Because I think it has to be a quorum of a board's decision. I'm not sure, I'd have to check, but I'm,
Yeah, the other thing you're gonna run afoul of is the personnel policy. So, I mean, the town personnel policy where she's gonna have to get a 3-hour call-in pay for that. So,
mm,
and that's something that's approval too. It'll have to be approved by Naomi also.
Right.
well, maybe, so then maybe if there's a really concerned issue, not to say there is one, there hasn't been one, other than just these little moving jack where it needs to be and so forth. But maybe that needs to be a notation when we accept the minutes. There's an area that we're concerned about, that we're not sure exactly what we said. The minutes are saying this is what we said, but we want clarification.
I mean, you could always table them until the next time and then get the input that way too.
and you can check the recording yourself before the next meeting, because the recording's up 2 or 3 days after, I think, Karen?
Yes.
Sometimes less.
Yeah, sometimes,
Yes.
yeah,
I have enough trouble checking the written ones, not checking
I
the
know.
recorded ones.
I know.
Let's be real here, people.
Well, I guess then the real question then needs to be what Craig said, should be applicable not to doing the minutes at the beginning, but that we have read the minutes prior to the meeting, period.
I think she does a very good job, and I don't think we're gonna have any problems, to be blunt. How's that? But I do think we should read the minutes. I mean, they are lengthy, which is good, and can be good and can be bad. But either way, we need to take the time to read them before the meeting. I think if we have a confusion, we can table it, ask questions.
Yep.
We are way behind. I think we can do this without paying her for 3 hours to come in every time.
Yep.
What else we got, Kelly? Hello, Kelly. She's gone. Kelly.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, she was in the bathroom.
Knock off. See, that's why she's not showing us her face.
That's because she don't want you to look up her nose hole. She told me that.
She's muted.
Yep, she's muted. Anybody else have anything?
We need to address that note from the New Hampshire Planning Board people.
Southern New Hampshire?
Yeah. Or just leave it
I would
alone.
like to address it. It really isn't appropriate for this meeting.
What's the reference to? Their report about the number of hours they spent and where?
Yes.
No, just that and how much we chip in for other locales' work.
I think Jack got a copy of that, and as a selectman, I think he's in a position to take appropriate action.
You don't want to know what I think about that. I think you already do. So,
Yeah, I think we've had that discussion.
yes, we
I
have.
think, I think I can make one comment that's tasteful and appropriate. There is a real question about how the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission calculates hours and allocates hours with respect to projects they say they've worked on behalf of the town of Ware.
Is that all you're going to say about that?
I said tasteful.
Okay. Kelly just let me know that Ray Menard wants to be recognized if he wants to talk about joining the board possibly, but he's muted. At least on my screen, he's muted.
Well, we can fix the unmuted piece.
Yep, we can. There he is. So I recognize Ray Menard down at the bottom with no picture.
Yeah, we're experiencing some internet issues, so we're trying to minimize the bandwidth. That, or I get other word. Yeah, my wife and I have talked to Kelly. Oh, I guess, shoot, it was probably almost a year ago now, I guess, or sometime before the pandemic, and we were interested in participating in helping out in the community where we can. The part of the challenge is before the pandemic, I travel a lot, so could probably, serve as an alternate member. Relatively easy. I'm not traveling now during the pandemic, and I honestly don't know when that'll pick up again.
Yeah, none of us do. But, right now we have, I guess technically we have a full complement of members and Pastor Bill is an alternate. However, I say this with a however, Chuck Bolton is a full member. And I know he hasn't been on the board, sat on the board for 10 months, maybe?
Right.
Something like that. It's been a while. His appointment runs out this spring, actually 2 months. I am assuming, I don't know, that's bad, probably bad to assume, but I assume Chuck would not re-up. I don't know that, which would make Pastor Bill a full member. And then you could certainly, we need alternates, there's no doubt about that. So I would welcome anybody to join the board, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and like I said, we're we're happy to do it. We're there'd be or I guess I'm happy to do it. Obviously there's a learning curve
Sure.
associated with it, but I pick up on things pretty quick.
I've been in the land surveying business since '77. I'm still learning things every day. So I understand that. I came across a new one today in Deerfield. So that's new to me.
Briefly, Ray, what's your background? What, engineer, sales?
So I'm that's actually kind of tough. I actually work in cybersecurity. I started out with a small software company, I guess 20 years ago, and about 10 years into that, we got bought by IBM. And so I'm a worldwide executive security consultant right now for IBM. And I've done, I did 16 years in the military with all kinds of additional duties, from disaster preparedness officer to the civil engineering officer to project management to almost anything that you can think of.
Okay, thanks.
I have a very technical background. I do some engineering work, but more in the communication side, not buildings and grounds and things like that.
Kelly, you still there? No, she's there, just can't hardly hear her. Cause
In the kitchen, sounds like.
she's probably wearing her face mask. She's probably wearing her mask, ever gonna give her COVID. I don't have any more questions. I mean, I'll be blunt. Any citizen wants to join any board, I'm more than welcome to. Fill out an application, take it to the selectmen, and please. That's the way I look at it.
Yep, happy to do it.
Great. Before I forget, I want to mention to Jack, are you going to be able to, is the selectman going to be able to put a thing on the petition for the master plan?
There was,
Or did we forget?
oh, there was some discussion about that and it didn't get on for some reason. But Naomi had another issue with that, another way to do that. So, it's not around tonight. So, yeah, the warrant's already been posted, so we can't add anything else to it. But I think there was another way to skin that cat, so to speak. that she
Okay.
was looking at.
So we will be able to skin that cat this year.
Hopefully, yes.
I would just think we got about 3 things in my mind we ought to do that are fairly good size. And that's a very large one, obviously. Anything else? We can't hear Kelly, so she can't say anything. I'll text her again.
Microphone must be dying.
She said bye. Well, in that case, anybody want to make a motion to get out of here?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Pastor Bill seconded, I saw him.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, gentlemen and ma'am.
Aye. Thank you, Karen.
Welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Karen.